Before the first gods took shape, before the hammer of Thor ever struck the skies, there was a cow, not a beast of earth or field, but a creature born from the chaos that existed before time itself, a being whose milk nourished gods and giants alike, and whose presence marked the dawn of existence. Her name was Audhumla. Long before men named the stars, there was only the void, Ginnungagap, the yawning nothingness between fire and ice. To the south, the inferno of Muspelheim roared eternal, spilling sparks and molten rivers into the abyss. To the north, Niflheim spread its frozen mists and icy rivers, each one flowing from the great well of Ymir. For ages, these two realms never touched. But when the fires of Muspelheim met the icy breath of Niflheim, creation began to stir. From the melting frost, the first being emerged, Ymir, the primordial giant. His massive body steamed with life, his breath shook the silence of the void, and his sweat gave birth to more giants. Yet even a giant needs sustenance. From that same melting ice came another miracle, gentle, radiant, and pure. Her name meant the Nourishing One, Audhumla. Her body glowed softly against the darkness, her hide pale as moonlight, her eyes deep and calm like ancient wells. From her udders flowed 4 rivers of milk, pure and endless, and it was this milk that fed Ymir. Without her, even the first giant, the father of all frostborn, would have perished in that empty, frozen world. But Audhumla's story didn't end with nourishment. She was not only a caretaker of giants, she was the key to the birth of the gods themselves. As she grazed upon the salty blocks of ice that surrounded her, something extraordinary began to happen. Each day she licked the frost, and each day a form began to emerge from beneath the ice. On the first day, a single strand of hair appeared. On the second, a head took shape. And on the third, the full form of a man stood before her, strong, radiant, and divine. His name was Buri, the first of the gods, ancestor of Odin himself. Born not of parents, but from the patient work of the cosmic cow. It was from Buri that Bor was born, and from Bor came Odin, Vili, and Ve, the 3 brothers who would later slay Ymir and forge the world from his body. And so, in the quiet heart of creation, Audhumla, the mother without children, gave birth to divinity itself. She was both mother and midwife of the cosmos, the unseen hand that fed the roots of existence. While gods and giants would later fight over power, she had already given them both life. Imagine that moment. A frozen plain between realms where fire cracked the horizon and mist curled like ghosts. In that endless twilight stood a single cow, her breath steaming, her tongue smoothing away the ice, revealing the shape of destiny. Each motion of her head was a heartbeat of creation. Each drop of milk was a promise of survival. In later ages, poets and skalds called her the nourisher of the first beings, a creature so ancient that even Odin, the All-Father himself, owed his existence to her. Without Audhumla, there would have been no Buri. Without Buri, no Odin. Without Odin, no Asgard, no gods, no men. And yet, like many of the oldest powers in myth, her story fades quickly. Once the gods were born and the worlds took form, the sagas turned away from her, as though embarrassed by the simplicity of her nature. But the old stories never forgot. In the oldest Icelandic verses, the creation of life begins not with war or thunder, but with nourishment, with milk flowing in the void. Audhumla represents something almost forgotten in later myths: gentle creation. In a world obsessed with conquest and glory, she embodies balance and care. Fire and frost clash endlessly, but life only endures when nurtured, when something feeds it. That is her power. Some scholars call her a symbol of the eternal feminine, the cosmic mother whose act of giving sustains the cycle of being. Others see her as the bridge between chaos and order, between destruction and creation. Where Ymir was raw power, uncontrolled and destructive, Audhumla was calm and purposeful. Her nourishment gave direction to chaos, turning it into creation, and in that sense she and Ymir were opposites, two forces born from the same clash of elements. Where he multiplied endlessly, filling the void with giants born from sweat and shadow, she gave life with intention. She chose what to feed and what to free. It is said that when she revealed Buri, a great warmth spread through Ginnungagap for the first time. The frozen mist began to part, and light, soft and gold, fell across the newborn world. That was the first dawn, not the dawn of the sun, but the dawn of being. Odin would later shape the cosmos from Ymir's remains, his skull the sky, his bones the mountains, his blood the seas. But all of that began with Audhumla's quiet act. While gods forged and giants fought, she simply licked the ice, nurturing what lay hidden beneath. It's almost poetic that the oldest creature in Norse creation was not a warrior nor a king, but a caretaker. The universe began not with destruction, but with nourishment. The old myths remind us that creation often requires patience, not force. That even in a world of gods and monsters, the simplest act, feeding, nurturing, giving, holds divine power. Audhumla never demanded worship. She never built a throne or forged a weapon. She gave, and through her giving, the gods were born. When you trace the lineage of Odin, of Asgard, of all things, it leads not to a warrior's hall, but to a cow in the cold, a creature of quiet strength, existing between fire and ice. She is the balance between extremes, life standing calmly at the edge of chaos. Perhaps that's why her story is so easily overlooked. We remember those who burn, who fight, who roar, but the true foundations of existence are built on gentler forces. Even the fire giant Surtur, destined to end the world in flame, cannot undo what Audhumla began, because even destruction must come from something once nourished, once loved into being. Some say that when the final fire of Ragnarok burns away the world, a single drop of milk will remain in the void. And from that drop, a new Audhumla will form, to lick the ice of a new age. A new Buri will rise, and creation will begin again. The cycle, unending, will start with her once more. Her myth teaches us that power need not roar to shape destiny. Sometimes, the most ancient forces move silently, patiently, with purpose too deep for thunder to understand. And so, as long as there is warmth in the frost and life between fire and ice, the spirit of Audhumla endures. She is the beginning. She is the nurturer. She is the forgotten heart of creation.